Chapter 7. Sex Ghosts from Past Lives. This is part of normal? If we limit ourselves to the age we are and forget all the ages we have been, we diminish our truth. Mondelain Langland. The trouble with something highly subjective like taste is that what is considered a normal wine will depend on who you ask. Do you ever ask yourself if you are performing sex normally? We all came into this world with a body that is able to wonderfully feel all kinds of sensation. You were born a sexual being. Sexual in the sense of a fully embodied individual who is developing an internal relationship with your own body, with pleasure and comfort, with yearning, with desire for touch and contact. You are influenced by everything around you, the way your birth mother spoke to you even while you were in her womb, all the choices made in your behalf, the unexamined names you use for your body parts, all streams of information you took and continue to absorb. Your sexual self grew and continues to grow in relation to all of those messages. Many of the messages we absorb as children are not direct or clear statements, but conclusions from things like, "All the adults are laughing. Something must be wrong with me. Mom yelled at me. She doesn't like me when it rains." Sometimes what we figure out is spot on. Much the time, this is simply not the case. Irrespective, those feelings that we have about what happened are real to us and become part of our memory, part of how we learn, how we are developing. As we grow into adulthood, we develop a critical mind. Most importantly, we can rewrite the sexual values and mores of our family of origin and all the other past influences, especially the side effects of prostate cancer, to fit the way we see and experience our present world. However, much of the information we took in as children stays in the deep recesses of our mind. Most people, without the pressure of loss, will most likely not give any conscious adult attention to examine what is or is not working for them in the here and now. Lessons that we learn through shame or fear go unexamined, remain deep in our memories, and remain there as default truths to respond to quickly and without questioning. Studies in neuroplasticity confirm that we can establish new neuronal pathways, new ways of thinking. It is never too late to change our perception filters. However, unexamined messages and their attendant instinctual patterns stick with us. Being sensually conscious of our sexual self means exploring these roots, these foundations. The early script messages we took in about sex, about bodies, and about affection. Your body was your first playmate. Picture for a moment baby playing in the bath. Both his little hands plunged into the water. His eyes widen at the splash he makes. The child clearly wonders at the power of its own body to make this happen. Full of awe and joy at this experience, the child turns to the nearby adult with a huge smile and joyous laughter. You may even be smiling as you read these words in response to this imaginary scene. Think about it. Why is it that we are so moved by a dog so excited that it can't stop wiggling? Isn't this, after all, what we most desire? To be totally uninhibited with ourself and another in experiencing and expressing feeling. We are all born with that potential, to totally be in the world, to take pleasure in all our senses. At birth, lacking language, we began engaging with the world through our bodies. Even today, we are all motivated to seek out things to give us pleasure and upset by things that causes discomfort. Our bodies introduce us to and keep us connected with life. Our bodies, our natural yearnings, guide us to follow pleasure and avoid discomfort. As a baby, you had no reason to avoid pleasurable sensations or experiences. You had to learn to deny yourself those things. Unfortunately, many of us were taught bit by bit to suppress pleasure or, more specifically, to dampen down our own desire for pleasure. It is natural for babies to play with their own bodies. As an infant develops more motor control, it is common for them to touch their genitals. After all, touching themselves down there may feel good and soothing. In the case of penises, they are readily accessible and easy thing to hold. For the baby, these are things that are quite natural and normal. But genital exploration is a problem for some adults. The child's exploration is likely to be interrupted because of the adult's discomfort. Little things like pushing the baby's hands away, or even saying things like, "That's dirty," or "bad boy." Most of us started hearing messages about our body at an early age. We noticed how some parts of our body are treated differently than others, and we attempt to make sense of this. Just like our bodies are key elements of who we are as children, for better or for worse, this remains true throughout our lives. We realize very quickly that people's responses to our bodies, the social identifiers of gender, race, age, the way people look at us have enormous impact on us. Our own private and personal relationship with our bodies can quickly be suppressed by outward considerations. Also, we receive early training on what we should and should not do with our bodies, where we can touch, what we can show, how much we can move or even express. There is significant differences as to how a family and culture model things in the home, like nudity. It is likely that your family treated nudity differently than the family even next door. Interestingly, cultures that support nudity and are relaxed with family nudity create kids who feel more comfortable with their bodies and their sexuality. Nudity that feels forced or disrespectful in some way can have negative effects. Obviously, the attitude toward it and how it is handled makes the difference. Requirements for privacy or personal modesty will be different based on our unique temperaments combined with the way we were raised. Our bodies are our vehicles for experiencing affection and love. Touch is crucial for young babies to thrive. Research in foundling homes confirms that the absence of human touch actually results in the shriveling of the spine. Children crave and search out physical touch and holding. We learn how to interact with other bodies, to show we care, how not to hurt others, how to play. We receive our biggest lessons about how people respond to us when we come to them for physical affection. We learn to adapt ourselves based on the responses we get or don't get. It may seem that I am going down a rabbit hole with you here, and you may even wonder, why so much of time devoted to what I already know about childhood development? We are not like the lion in the jungle who mates only for reproduction. For us, is more than just sex. It is sexuality, surrounded, elaborated, embroidered in our sense of sexuality that encompasses all and touches everything. Sex itself provides us with drama, with tragedy, even comedy. It weaves itself into the fabric of everything from education to entertainment, from secular to spiritual. It remains present in the mandates of politicians as well as priests to look the other way and rise above it all. The title, Sex, If I Didn't Laugh, I'd Cry. Jess Lair, 1981, sums it all up. Our sexuality is affected by physiology, custom, and our amazing imaginations. Our relationship with sexuality, our own, all of nature's, our culture's, is a fundamental element of being human. Ideas upon which to sip. Sexuality both encompasses and incorporates our thoughts. Sex creates diversity, beauty, complexity, cooperation, and competition. Sex rules and fuels love, connection, creativity, and yes, fertility. We can go forward with a new integral understanding of what sex and our sexuality is and can be. So, to summarize what I was just saying, what is sex? Sex is any erotic activity. Beyond its being something you do, sexuality is a part of all what you are. Sexuality both encompasses and incorporates our thoughts, our stories or beliefs, our emotions, our values, boundaries, behaviors, choices, relationships, knowledge, and experience. Sex creates diversity, beauty, complexity, cooperation, and competition. It is in everything, both positive and negative. Sex rules and fuels love, connection, creativity, and yes, fertility. Historically, sex was an ingenious way for hunter-slash-gatherers to increase their odds of survival. Sex was both the lubricant and glue of intimate relationships, building a tribal unity that was driven by pleasure that resulted in procreation and partnering. Then came the domestication of land and the enslavement of animals. Along with that came prohibitions and rules about aspects of living in a domesticated group. Culture and unexamined rules screen punishment for pleasure realized outside the rules. You might say that along with domesticating sex, We domesticated our bodies with our efforts to hide, bury, sanitize, and deny the powerful source of nature's ethos. We subjugated our erotic energy into pathological and factory farm desire. We decided that this was bad and decreed sex as basically the animal within us. Isn't it ironic that all the civilization in the world cannot keep us from being the most sex-obsessed creatures beyond reproduction on the planet? So it remains to this day. No tilled field can contain one appetite. No monoculture can suppress the delivery of our lust. We stray beyond containers of rank, the arrangements of marriage, over the walls of class. Our desire barrels beyond cultural rules and regulations. It directs our eyes beyond our borders of civilization to the calls of the jungle. We know not what awaits us there, and we hunger for it. Erotic connection so deep, so consuming, that it sends us literally out of our minds. We yearn for erotic tsunamis that will carry us beyond all pretense of good behavior, erasing boundaries and overriding edges. Our desire calls us to return to the ecstatic earth, to go back to the wildness that once upon a time was our home. No, you do not have to go back. Many people's sexuality is constrained by shame, low self-esteem, inhibitions, fear. Very little of our sexuality education, informal or formal, encourages us to look forward to responsible, celebratory sex. The good news is, we can go forward with a new integral understanding of what sex and our sexuality is and can be. Through conscious choice, conscious sensuality, we can regain access to our aesthetic birth, right? To pure pleasure, to our erotic innocence. We can recover our ability to experience untamed sexual connection within the context of consciousness, integrity, responsibility. Sexuality in this holistic relationship to everything. Imagine that you have found a place inside yourself, a reservoir where your untamed wildness is united with today and future civilization, a you that results in an empowered, liberated, and amazingly sensual you. Clearly, before this can happen, we must free ourselves in the thousands of years of misguided and sex-negative cultural stories passed down to us. Consider this. Most of the narratives about sex are flawed, shallow, incomplete. It is not that the inability to will an erection is dysfunctional, ED. Rather, let's give the collective definition of sex the label it deserves, dysfunctional. For example, we've learned that sex is about getting laid, getting some, putting out, giving it up, scoring, getting it on, getting down, not giving some. It's quite a lot of getting going on, wherein all this is sharing, the connecting, the giving. Information about sex is slotted non-stop in advertising and entertainment with a confusing stream of mixed messages. It is ranges from pleasurable to profane, tempting to blue, shameful to alluring. Sex is both normalized and trivialized with the emphasis on appearance, the way you act, dress, and look, all in the absence of intimate connection with yourself and others. It is my position that the joys of life are about choosing to honor pleasure while conducting oneself with integrity. Obviously, that includes being sexually free. The power of our sexuality when channeled appropriately transforms us far beyond the bedroom. It ripples out into a consciousness that honors the interconnectedness of all life. It is a consciousness that heals the planet,